Welcome to SunnySpeaks. Here again with another review for you, and you. And today, I'm here to talk about Nosferatu, directed by Robert Eggers and starring Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Willem Dafoe, and many more. This movie is a remake of the 1922 silent film of the same name and based on the novel Bram Stoker's Dracula. Thomas and Ellen Hutter find themselves in a supernatural conflict with the legendary vampire Count Orlok, or Nosferatu, as he has chosen Ellen as his bride. Using mental manipulation and bloodshed as his tools to succeed, he will stop at nothing to have her. This is a movie that I was anticipating greatly. The trailer promotion was great, and the casting like Bill Skarsgard as Nosferatu seemed amazing. But as the movie went on, for me, I started to recognize that expectation might not be Robert Eggers' strong suit. Starting out positive, Nicholas Hoult is great in this movie. A lot of the horror and anxiety works best when you're seeing it through his character's eyes. You feel the trembling, the anxiety, the sweat that he feels when he's roaming around Count Orlok's castle, my favorite part of the movie. You feel the fear when he's watching or hearing his wife describe these horrible nightmares she's having of some monster looming around the corner of her psyche. For me, Thomas Hutter as a main character was the one thing that really kept this movie together on an acting standpoint. The cinematography is great, and the atmosphere is the best character in this entire movie. Germany looks so amazing. Robert Eggers' set design is incredibly crafted, per usual, and it is a moving painting that is beautifully gothic and a treat to look at. The prosthetics on Bill Skarsgard as Nosferatu looked incredible too. It's hard to even distinguish him in the look, and I thought that was really dope. Other than those two things though, a lot of this movie fell flat for me. Possibly because of my expectations, I'll be honest. But I believe expectations or having prior knowledge to the source material is why this movie feels lacking to me. What makes Robert Eggers' movies so interesting to me is that you don't know what to expect. From The Witch to The Lighthouse to The Northman, he plays on your confusion. That's where a lot of the horror comes from. But in this film, knowing it's a vampire movie, being familiar with the source material, it being a remake, there isn't much to be surprised by outside of feeling a particular character's fear. A lot of the jump scares are weak. A lot of the building tension in moments never really worked for me. And the ways that Nosferatu goes about terrorizing or killing people felt very redundant. This movie feels very style over substance while wanting to have substance, and that's difficult for me. Rose Depp, while not being horrible in this movie at all, and only having seen her in The Idol before this, she didn't work for me as Emily Hutter. The story positions her to have very dramatic moments where you have to feel her in the emotional turmoil she's going throughout the film. But I just didn't feel it. I do think that her body horror, the way that she would shake, the physical movements that she had were great, and the way that she would switch in and out of those moments I thought were really unsettling. But she's supposed to be the heart of this movie as well, and most of the time I didn't feel like it had a pulse. What I will say though is that I do think that I wish that she played Renfield or whoever Nosferatu's sidekick is supposed to be. I think if she played that role, I think it would have been way more creepy, because that character for me also didn't work. Appears in the beginning of the film, then he's kind of sparse throughout and has most scenes with Willem Dafoe, and that character was very boring to me and never was effective or creepy or anything really. But I think if she played that role, I just feel like she would have killed that, because she has a very creepy vibe to her, and that's when I liked her the most. But when she was crying or supposed to be like the hero of the story, I just didn't feel that. Most of the acting in this movie felt very Shakespearean or play-like, and for me, that didn't really work because nothing felt real. Except for Nicholas Hoult, which now after seeing this movie, I am very excited to see him play Lex Luthor. I went into this movie wanting to enjoy it. I promise you I did. This was one of the most anticipated movies for me this year, for real. But I just didn't believe a lot of what these characters wanted you to believe. Willem Dafoe as Dr. Albin Eberhart von Franz, while being charismatic and hard to look away from, like most movies he's in. For lack of a better way to put it, he seemed like he was having too much fun, and it took away from the horrific aspects of the movie and what all these characters are going through. But he's a legendary actor, so he's earned a good time, and he also played Nosferatu in Shadow of the Vampire, so this probably just felt like a full circle moment for his acting career. Bill Skarsgard as Nosferatu, look-wise, is pretty great. This may be a slight spoiler because they don't show his face in the trailer, but he has a mustache in this movie. And I see what they're going for, having an ode to Vlad the Impaler. And I honestly do think that that's a cool idea, but sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. I think the mustache takes away from the grotesque and odd look of Nosferatu, in my opinion. He was scarier in shadows when you couldn't see him and you could see this looming tall presence with some dogs that are barking at you. Like, that was always creepy. But when you see his face, sometimes I feel like it for some reason for me, just it took away from things. While appreciating the fact that the movie wanted to distinguish itself from the original, I do think a paler and clean face would have just been a lot more off-putting and a lot more stranger to look at. But maybe they did that also to kind of take away from the star aspect of Bill Skarsgard now and be able to just kind of forget, but I still think that is something that is worth mentioning. He also has a very harsh Transylvanian accent, and at times it has a Bane effect to me, where sometimes you know what he's saying and sometimes I had no idea at all. But most times he speaks in a different language and there are subtitles, the same font as the title card in the trailer, and I think that not only did I like the font of the subtitles, but I really like when he's speaking in a different language. I think that it was just creepier. Overall, though, this movie is good, don't get me wrong, but has flaws I couldn't look away from. I saw this movie at a 10:45 p.m. showing, opening day, and people were hype. People were dressed in black. People were running to the theater room, and it was cool to feel that excitement around me. And by the end of it, hearing some thoughts around me, even me trying to do my short by the poster, people were taking pictures by the poster. People really enjoyed this movie, and I'm glad people do. But just like with the Honora review, I will be in the minority, and that's okay. I've been a minority my entire life. Despite having incredible visuals, maybe some of the best this year, I'm going to have to give this a mostly cloudy rating, fitting to the aesthetic of the film. The story and the acting, and I would argue the direction of the acting, makes a lot of the emotional effects fall flat. And I wish that wasn't the case for me, but I will say I've only seen it once, so now probably seeing it again, I would be able to have better expectations going into the film. But to me, Nosferatu is the weakest movie in Robert Eggers' filmography. If you want my ranking of his movies, I would do The Witch, The Northman, The Lighthouse, Nosferatu. Let me know what you think about Nosferatu in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts, just like with the Honora review or anything that I have a different opinion on when I post stuff on TikTok as well. Every time people post down in the comments and say their thoughts, it always opens my mind to something different. And perspective is key. I would love to hear your thoughts if you have seen the movie, or if you are going to go see the movie, come back here and let me know what you think after you see it. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next one. Peace.